Jin BTS finally breaks his silence, and Jungkook is left speechless. What did he say that changed everything? In a moment that stunned millions across the globe, Seokjin, known to the world as Jin of BTS, finally spoke words that no one, not even his closest bandmate Jungkook, was prepared to hear. The confession came not during a press conference, not in a scripted interview, but in a setting so raw and emotionally charged that even seasoned observers of the K-pop industry were left shaken. What did Jin reveal that caused Jungkook to fall into complete silence, his expression frozen in disbelief? What truth had been buried for so long that its emergence now threatens to redefine the very foundation of BTS? The tension was palpable from the moment Jin entered the room. His demeanor was markedly different. No trace of the playful charm fans had come to associate with him. Instead, his face bore the weight of something far heavier. His eyes, usually bright with mischief or warmth, were clouded with a seriousness that bordered on sorrow. And when he finally spoke, the room fell into a silence, so deep it felt like time itself had paused. Jin's voice did not tremble, but it carried the unmistakable tone of someone who had rehearsed these words countless times in solitude. He did not look at the cameras. He did not look at the audience. He looked directly at Jungkook. And then, with a calmness that belied the gravity of his words, he said something that no one expected. "There's something I've never told you. Something I should have said years ago." The implications of that single sentence were immediate. Jungkook's reaction was not theatrical. He did not cry, he did not shout. He simply froze. His lips parted slightly, as if to respond, but no words came. His eyes searched Jin's face for context, for reassurance, for any indication that this was a misunderstanding. But Jin offered none. Instead, he continued, each word measured, each syllable deliberate. What followed was not a scandal. It was not a betrayal in the traditional sense. It was something far more personal, far more intimate. Jin revealed that during the early years of BTS, he had made a decision that he never disclosed to the group. A decision that, while made with good intentions, had consequences that rippled through their journey in ways no one had fully understood until now. He spoke of a moment in 2015 when the group was still fighting for recognition, when the pressure to succeed was suffocating. Jin had been approached with an offer, one that promised to elevate BTS's visibility, but required a sacrifice. The details of the offer remain undisclosed, but what Jin admitted was that he accepted it without consulting the others. He carried the burden alone, believing it was for the greater good. And while the outcome did benefit the group, the emotional toll it took on him was immense. Jungkook, who had always seen Jin as a pillar of strength and transparency, was visibly shaken. The silence between them stretched for what felt like an eternity. The audience, both in the room and watching from around the world, held their breath. What did this mean for their relationship? For the group's dynamic? For the legacy they had built together? Jin's confession was not just about a decision. It was about the loneliness of leadership, the isolation that comes from bearing responsibility in silence. He spoke of nights spent questioning himself, of moments when he wanted to speak but feared the consequences. He admitted that the weight of secrecy had changed him, made him more guarded, more distant. And he acknowledged that the person most affected by his silence was Jungkook. Why Jungkook? Because, as Jin explained, Jungkook had always looked to him for guidance. He had trusted Jin implicitly, had followed his lead without question. And now, faced with the revelation that Jin had withheld something so significant, Jungkook was forced to reevaluate everything he thought he knew. The emotional gravity of the moment was intensified by the fact that this was not a scripted event. There are no teleprompters, no rehearsed lines. Jin spoke from the heart, and Jungkook's reaction was as real as it gets. The cameras captured every nuance, the tightening of Jungkook's jaw, the flicker of confusion in his eyes, the subtle shift in his posture as he tried to process the information. Fans around the world erupted in speculation. What exactly was the nature of the offer Jin accepted? Why did he choose to keep it a secret for so long? And perhaps most importantly, what does this mean for the future of BTS? Some believe the confession marks a turning point, a moment of reckoning that will lead to deeper understanding and renewed unity. Others fear it signals a fracture, a revelation that could unravel years of trust and collaboration. But one thing is certain, the emotional impact of Jin's words cannot be overstated. The timing of the confession is also significant. With BTS members pursuing individual projects and navigating the complexities of fame, the need for transparency and emotional honesty has never been greater. Jin's decision to speak now, after years of silence, suggests a desire to confront the past before moving forward. It is a gesture of vulnerability, of accountability, and perhaps of redemption. Jungkook's silence, while unsettling, is also telling. It reflects the depth of his shock, the magnitude of the moment. For someone known for his emotional expressiveness, his inability to respond speaks volumes. It is not a rejection, nor is it acceptance. It is a pause, a moment of internal reckoning that may take time to resolve. As the news continues to circulate, fans are left with more questions than answers. What will the other members say? Will there be further revelations? And how will this affect the group's dynamic moving forward? Jin's confession is not just a personal moment, it is a cultural event. It challenges the perception of idols as flawless beings, reminding the world that behind the glamour and success are individuals grappling with complex emotions and difficult choices. It is a reminder that honesty, even when painful, is essential for growth. The emotional resonance of the moment is undeniable. It is a scene that will be replayed, analyzed, and remembered for years to come. And while the full impact of Jin's words may not be understood immediately, one thing is clear. Something fundamental has shifted. In the days to come, fans will look to Jungkook for a response. They will search for signs of reconciliation, of understanding, of healing. But for now, the silence speaks louder than words. It is a silence filled with emotion, with history, with the weight of a truth finally revealed, and yet, the silence lingers. Not just between Jin and Jungkook, but across the entire BTS fandom. The weight of the revelation has created a ripple effect, one that touches every corner of their legacy. Fans are dissecting every past interaction, every lyric, every moment that might now carry a different meaning. Was there a hidden message in Jin's solo work? Did Jungkook ever suspect something was being withheld? The emotional intensity of this moment has transformed casual observers into investigators, searching for clues in places they never thought to look. Jin's decision to speak now, after years of calculated restraint,